Yes, the blue robe and I, yet again. So, I pretty much am always in the blue robe around the house. I had somebody once try to throw a little shade, and I was like, really? Are you trying to throw a little shade? And he was like, well, I mean, and don't you love it when people say, I mean? Anyway, that is your ex for a reason, no, reason, no. Okay, so that's my jam. Kind of. I guess it's starting to be my jam. What it made me think of, though, because listening to music nowadays, I really prefer to just go ahead and get the edited versions of the songs because sometimes it will just, and I don't want to seem like too much of an old man. Oh, I was watching Greg Fisame on Instagram. He went live the other day explaining that he is a fellow 80s baby. I don't know what this is. Okay, goodbye, thanks. Anyway, yes. And I always thought that he was like late 90s or something because he looked so young, and he was like, I'm about to be 40. And I'm like, what? And he's actually 30, I think he said 37 or 36. And either way, we're either 1 or 2 years apart. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know. And he was like, so yes, my face looks fabulously young, but you can tell by my hands. And it's so funny because I looked at my hands, and I know that people say you can tell somebody's age by looking at their hands. And I was like, well, I guess, and he was like, I have almost 40-year-old hands. And I was like, oh goodness, I guess I have almost 40-year-old hands as well. Anyway, I'm 38. But this song reminded me of the fact that nowadays, for today's music, I am particularly not a fan of the unedited versions of tracks because it feels to me like a lot of times people just throw in profanity not to be artsy with it and not to have an artistic purpose with the art or to express something specific with the art. Just throw in profanity just to be like, hey, I cussed on this album because I'm down. I'm down with the cause. I'm down for the street. And it's like, okay, I already know that. I assume that, unfortunately. But yes, I get it. Thank you. And I'll use this example because as an early 80s baby, 1983, I grew up in the era of, well, Lil Kim, and I didn't buy any Lil Kim CDs until I was in college or whatever. And what is this, 3 minutes? Okay. Yeah. And I got the unedited versions, and I was like, ooh, I love this. Because she actually said some really clever lines, clever sexual lines with her unedited version. It was like, for example, I used to be scared of the dick. Now I throw lips to the shit. Handle it like a real bitch. Have the hunt. Well, I know that's one of them, but I can't think of the rest. It's like take it in the bud. Yes, that's one. I like man in Switzerland. Even got Bahamas. Anyway, but yeah, her cussing would often, not necessarily always, but often be, I don't want to say purposeful, like it's her divine purpose No, but it would not just come across as I'm cussing just to let you all know that I'm street. I'm gonna throw in this to bring it to the song, Summer Walker's "That Is Your Ex for a Reason." And I went ahead and I was like, okay, so I think I've listened to the unedited version where she throws in like nigga and all of that stuff a lot. And I'm like, okay, great. You know, I've put that on my soul. Now let me hear the clean version. And something that was interesting was how the clean version actually bleeps out what I thought was where she said, "That is your ex for a reason." And it bleeped out, "That your ex for a reason now." And I'm like, wait a minute. Was she cussing there as well? And then I realized she probably said, "That bitch your ex for a reason." And it's like, but calling her a bitch, what's the creative purpose of that? You know, calling him a nigga, what's the creative purpose of that? You know, just because I'm street, and that's how we speak in the streets. And I am not impressed. And I remember, oh, my first manager after college, I talked to her about something, and this was harsh. You know, it's kind of like the George Carlin thing when he was like, kids don't hear that they're bullshitters until they're grown, until they get told, not bitch, but until they get told, Johnny, pack up your shit, you're a loser, get out of here. And she didn't call me a loser. It was just interesting because, and I actually really liked her a lot, and she was wonderful. And she's also a Delta. And she was like, Aaron, I was presenting her with something that I was trying to, I think it was one of my IFMs that we have. And I was telling her about something that I had working in the works. And she was like, Aaron, I want to let you know that I am not impressed. And I was like, what do you mean? I'm like, she was like, I am not impressed. Diva. Love her. Anyway, but yeah, it's so crazy how that's the whole, like, people just throw in profanity just for the sake of establishing street cred. Now, let me also say this, since it might have seemed like I was implying something else. I don't think there is ever a worthwhile time to use the N-word in your songs. Well, I was just trying to make sure that people understand how strongly I feel against that black man. Never, ever a reason. Anyway, yeah. So, and songs are just littered with those words, bitches and niggas. Anyway, but yeah, so I try to get the clean versions now. For example, oh my gosh, I'm not going to go forever, but I am going to tell this. I love Doja Cat's latest, or one of her latest. By the way, her album Planet Her is dope. Period. But I also love her song with SZA, Kiss Me More. It's funny, this dude that I was talking to for a time and dating for a time, and then it was decided that we wouldn't. But he was like, I don't like that song. But I actually love that song. Sonically, I love it. But it gets under, like, I try to hear the clean version because it just bothers me when SZA has the line saying, effing with you is like jail, N-word. And it's like, effing with you is like jail. It's like, what? What? And I guess because yeah. I don't think I'll share that on this yet at this point, but suffice it to say, I have it that just drives me up the wall, and for good reason. So I like hearing the edited version when she's like, effing with you is like jail, Dunny. It's like, okay, cool, that's fine. Anyway, how many minutes? 10? Yeah, this video is long enough. Nobody knows where I got that from because it's been a number of years. But if you look in the annals, stop it. Yes, I am a homosexual man, so I find that funny. But if you if you look through the annals, the historicals, if you will, of my YouTube page, you might get a bit of a reason or a bit of an idea of where that came from. Anyway, talk to y'all later. And I'm also going to put this on Instagram, on my personal Instagram page. I think maybe just YouTube. I don't know, whatever. But talk to y'all later, social media world. Peace. Stay blessed.